To begin, let me take you back in time and also to the Midwest. Bear with me, we'll be back soon. I'm from Argentina, and I did my PhD at University of Illinois and this twin city called Urbana-Champaign. So as you might know, grad school is very stressful, so as part of managing the stress that grad school for sure provide, my classmates and I will occasionally go dancing. In this particular occasion, we went to a salsa club named Radio Maria, I hope it still exists, in downtown Champaign. And then we were doing our thing, dancing, hanging out, when my best friend, she's from Honduras, looked at me and said, I didn't know Argentinians could dance. You see, we have a little bit of a reputation with our Latin American siblings. We are traditionally known by tango, which is the most melancholic music genre you will ever hear from Latin America. Not 15 minutes passed, and a local lady, middle-aged, approached me, out of breath, and shouting the music. She said, "Where are you from?" "Argentina," I said. She smiled, nodded to herself, and said, "That's why you dance so well." Let me clarify something real quick. I do not dance that well. However, in that night, in less than 20 minutes, my nationality, or better yet, the ideas people have about my nationality, granted me two different and contradictory assessments of the same dancing skills. This might have happened to you because it happens to us at any point. We are constantly being figured out by others, and people, whether they say it or not, are always like defining us and categorizing us. And the material for that categories are the salient features of identity at any given point. To make things more complicated, those categories changes throughout the day. So you will be seen different at different points of the day. When I'm walking to my car on an empty parking lot at night, I usually keep my keys between my fingers, and I fear for my safety because I identify and I'm also seen as a woman. When I'm here at campus, I have the courage and the liberty to say almost anything I want because unconventional wisdom is the motto of Rice University. However, I will be held accountable as a professor and not as a student if something happens. So throughout the day, we are perceived differently, and we are not alone. When we interact with others, when we engage with others, even if we say anything or not, we constantly communicate. And communication, by definition, is a negotiation of different and intersecting values and meanings. To make matters worse and more complicated, and as I just said, we, at any different moment, are defined and are seen differently based on salient characteristics of our social identity that might be or not at our control. We are many, trying to convey, trying to make meaning on different to others who are also many and doing the same thing, being perceived and communicate. We make them and they make us, verbally and not verbally. What a mess, right? So how do we fix it? Or do we fix it? How do we get around this? One of my specialties here at Rice, as you've heard, is intercultural communication. I teach it in English and I teach it in Spanish. And one of the points I make in my classes is exactly this one that I just made. If we are all different, if we're all multiple, why would we assuming that we will communicate the same way with people sharing, I don't know, for instance, a passport? How nationality defines us, and it will define us the same way? Do all Argentinians dance well? Is nationality the same as culture? Will it ever be? And if not, then what? To how many cultures do we actually belong? See, if we belong to cultures and we make and reactivate cultures every time we communicate, how many cultures are we actually talking when we're talking about intercultural communication. What a mess, right? Whenever I'm asked to give talks about this outside of campus, I everything, as I just did, but I also prove people that they do have the skills to navigate intercultural communication. And I do that with experiment. Let me prove it to you too. Let's do a quick experiment. It's not gonna hurt, I promise. I want you to close your eyes, relax, and go back in time. Way, way back in time. Precisely to your first days of kindergarten. You are 3, 4 years old, and everything you know about the world was taught to you at your home. And suddenly, you are in this new scenario. What do you remember about your first days of kindergarten? What do you remember doing this very first day in this new scenario? Mostly crying and napping, I know. You can open your eyes now. But also, and most likely, observe, try to decide and engage with this new scenario. So, what do you remember? Where do you look for clues on this for these new rules? Who did you follow? How did it go? When did you become you in kindergarten? How did you forge yourself as a kindergarten? Successful intercultural communication is not that different. And let me rehearse. So, if intercultural communication is about the willingness to engage with others and the willingness to engage with other people, maybe the creative and dynamic skills are already on you. Maybe you already have them instinctively. Maybe you could use them, maybe not as when you were a kid, but maybe could be as intention encounter with difference. I know, what a mess. So, well, how do we do it? Of course, it's better, there are other directions and other solutions, and for instance, trusting and resting on stereotypes seem more comfortable, faster, and a good way out. After all, how many times have we think, oh, all X do Y, because C. Many books containing recipes to deal with other cultures do just that, from business manuals to travel blogs and everything in between. But if I'm sustaining here, we are always multiple and we are sharing and not different cultures at the same time. Maybe the answer is not buying into the latest once and for all solution in communication. Maybe you also don't need to memorize the latest jargon in communication to succeed. Maybe you don't need to buy an expensive workshop or whatever. Maybe it's not about buying anything at all. So how? There's a really traditional phrase attributed to a Spanish philosopher called Miguel de Unamuno that go like this: fascism is cured by reading, racism is cured by traveling. You might have seen it if you've been to any travel blogs or Instagram or whatever. Let's unpack it a little bit. Even though I will never recommend not reading, I do not believe that will be cured by traveling. Let me explain you why. If you have been to any airport or any kind or station, you know it. People are horrible when they travel. Also, you need money and you need time to travel. You need documents, passports, visas. You need to be awarded certain privileges for certain institutions just to move around. So having these privileges handy does not necessarily promote an enlightening experience. In a way, and as we have been saying here, if we are all multiple and we're all communicating all the time, whether we like it or not, maybe it's not about traveling, but it's about meeting different people, which I think was what Unamuno was going for. Maybe during your daily activities, you will encounter different people, going to the grocery shopping, going to the gym, going to the bathroom here. You will encounter different people, different in seconds. So again, it's about engaging with difference. So maybe you don't need a passport or you don't need a book to engage in intercultural communication, in the same way that accumulating miles will not make you a less racist person. Engaging with curiosity will. Challenging, choosing to engage with difference will. Acknowledging and recognizing that we might be the different at some point. We are also the different will. It is happening now, all the time, and it's you choose how to or if to engage. Houston is already the most diverse city in the US. National demographics are going the same trend. It's now, it is happening now, and you have a choice, you have skills. And unfortunately, for crying and napping. Thank you.